Twilight is Falling, also known as Twilight is Stealing, is, on the surface, an obscure, sweet, simple hymn. But below the surface, this shape-note song has a deep tangle of historical roots in religious singing. In this Songs in the Night video, we're going to trace one branch of the genealogy for shape-note singing of hymns, and how this is an integral part of gospel music culture. North American shape-note a cappella singing first came to the New England colonies, but its deepest impact has been on the American South and Appalachia. Shape-note singing is still active today. To find out the closest shape-note singing activity near you, check out the resource section of this video. We are going to follow a melody of historical notes. When I strike the bell, you'll know we're jumping forward to a new century. Let's start sometime between the year 990 and 1033, at the beginning of the 11th century. Guido D'Arrezzo was an Italian monk from the Order of St. Benedict, and he was frustrated with how long it took novices to memorize the music for the psalms they were supposed to chant 8 times a day. As their teacher, he had to sing the hymns over and over for the monks in training, and Guido figured if there was a system that could speed up the learning music process, the monks could spend more time on prayer and religious studies. So Guido came up with a musical notation system, or solfege, that helped the novices visualize pitch changes and intervals, and all they had to do was find a starting pitch and sing the syllables of their psalms. He even came up with a little hand pattern mnemonic for leading the singing. And it worked. Guido reduced the 10-year training for an ideal cantor down to 2 years. He wrote the system down in a book commonly called the Micrologus. Demand for hand copies grew fierce among the monasteries. Pope John XIX calls him to Rome around 1028 to make a presentation, and soon all the monasteries are adopting Guido's shape-note system. His name is still known to shape-note singing instructors of the 21st century. On to October 31st, 1517, and the Castle Church in Wittenberg, Germany. Martin Luther, nailing his 95 Theses to the castle church door in 1517, kicked off the Protestant Revolution and returned communal singing to the worshipper, as it had been for the Jews and for the early Christian church. Martin Luther wrote,
"I truly desire that all Christians would love and regard as worthy the lovely gift of music, which is a precious, worthy, and costly treasure, given to mankind by God. The riches of music are so excellent and so precious that words fail me whenever I attempt to discuss and describe them. Next to the Word of God, the noble art of music is the greatest treasure in the world."
20 years later, in 1536, a Dutch Catholic priest named Menno Simons converts to Anabaptism, and soon another Protestant denomination known as the Mennonites will break off with their own ideas about church worship and community singing. On to the 18th century. Heinrich Funck, a Bernese-Swiss Mennonite bishop, came to colonial Pennsylvania in 1719 to escape religious persecution and was the first Mennonite bishop in the Americas. The Mennonite church and shape-note singing spread down the Philadelphia Wagon Road in the Shenandoah Valley to Virginia, the Carolinas, and Georgia. Bishop Heinrich Funck's son, Henry, dropped the C out of his last name and married Barbara Showalter. Henry and Barbara had a son, Joseph Funck, born in either 1777 or 1778 in Pennsylvania. On to the 19th century. The Funck family moved to Virginia, and in 1804, Joseph Funck married Elizabeth Rhodes and had 5 children. After Elizabeth died, Joseph married Rachel Britton, and they had 9 children. In 1847, Joseph Funck established a hand-printing press in his log spring house in Singers Glen, Virginia. It was the first Mennonite printing house in the United States. Joseph Funck collected sacred melodies, conducted singing schools, and published a Mennonite hymnal called Harmonia Sacra that is still in use today. Joseph Funck's grandson, Aldine Silliman Kieffer, was born August 1st, 1840 in Saline County, Missouri. His family moved to Virginia, and Aldine apprenticed with Grandpa Joseph Funck, learning the hymn publishing business. Aldine met Kieffer and Ruebush of Churchville, Virginia, when he came in 1853 to study under Joseph Funck at the Joseph Funck and Sons publishing house. Aldine and Ephraim became friends as they learned the shape-note solfege system as well as music composition and printing techniques. In 1861, Kieffer and Ruebush married Joseph Funk's granddaughter, Lucilla Virginia Kieffer. And since she was Aldine's sister, Aldine and Ephraim were now brothers-in-law. working together to teach shape note music theory at Virginia singing schools. When the Civil War broke out, it broke the country in two. The Funck publishing business failed, and Grandpa Joseph Funck died on December 24th, 1862. The war also broke the family apart ideologically. Kieffer enlisted in the Confederate 10th Virginia Infantry. Kieffer and Ruebush enlisted in the Union Army. Both men risked reprisals from the pacifist Mennonite communities they served. Kieffer was captured in 1864 and endured imprisonment at Fort Delaware until the end of the war. When Kieffer was released in 1865, Kieffer and Ruebush was at the prison gates to greet him and bring him home. After the war, the brothers-in-law began Kieffer's Patent Note Publishing Company in 1870, with Ruebush handling financial administration and Kieffer serving as music editor. The company was renamed in 1890 as the Ruebush-Kieffer Company and was at that time the largest gospel music publisher in the United States. They published a journal all about shape note musical instruction called The Musical Million, a journal of music, poetry, and chaste home literature. Through it, Kieffer and Ruebush promoted shape note religious singing and advertised their songbooks. Their most popular songbook, The Temple Star, purportedly sold more than 500,000 copies. In 1874, Kieffer and Ruebush founded in Newmarket, Virginia, the first teacher's school of music in the South, the Virginia Normal Music School. This school produced shape note singing teachers who traveled throughout the hills and hollows of the Shenandoah Valley and into the Appalachian areas using traveling teachers and preachers to promote the Word of God through hymn singing in areas with very low literacy. This created a demand for shape note hymnals and fueled the gospel music publishing industry of the late 1800s. Kieffer and Ruebush influenced such publishing powerhouses as Anthony Johnson Showalter, related to Kieffer's great-grandmother, Ephraim T. Hildebrand, and the key figure of Southern gospel hymn publishing, James D. Vaughn. Vaughn even named one of his children after Kieffer. The poem, Twilight is Stealing, was written after the Civil War by Aldine S. Kieffer. It was set to music by B.C. Unseld and published in the Temple Star in 1877. The earliest printed reference to our hymn, Twilight is Falling, is in the Singing School Tribune, published by Ruebush, Kieffer and Company, 1880. But I found Twilight is Falling in my father-in-law's shape note hymnal, Banner Hymns, published in 1957. And now, on to the 20th century. Kieffer is credited with 78 hymns, and Twilight is Falling is one of his best-known works. Kieffer died in 1904. Singing teachers brought shape note singing into the 20th century. One such teacher was Flanders Bays of Scott County, Virginia. He taught his nephew, A.P. Carter, how to read old shape note songbooks, giving him a background in gospel songs. After A.P. married Sarah Doherty in 1915, A.P. Carter, Sarah, and Sarah's younger cousin Maybelle, who had married A.P.'s brother Ezra, made their first recordings for Victor Records in 1927 as the Carter Family. Now, I know what you're thinking. There's no way the first family of bluegrass music, the Carter Family, recorded Twilight is Falling. And you're right. The Carter family never recorded Twilight is Falling. But Maybelle and Sarah's cousin, Myrtle Porter Vermillion, who learned to play the auto harp and sing from Maybelle and Sarah, made the first known recording of Twilight is Stealing for Brunswick Recording Studios in 1927. The group consisted of John Dykes on fiddle, Hubert Mayhaffey on guitar, and Myrtle on the auto harp, and they called themselves Dykes Magic City Trio. Today you can listen to the original recording on YouTube and imagine what it was like to be hearing the song through the new technology of radio. Folk music and bluegrass music popularity in the 50s and 60s brought about recordings of Twilight is Falling by the Ritchie Family, the Chuck Wagon Gang, and Doc Watson. If you search both Twilight is Falling and Twilight is Stealing, the song continues to be available in many styles on music streaming services and YouTube videos, particularly by bluegrass harmony groups and Southern gospel harmony groups. The hymn Twilight is Falling came to Songs in the Night as a request. I was unfamiliar with the song and had no idea the depth and breadth of musical lineage that researching it would uncover. If you have a hymn, spiritual, or gospel song that you'd like us to explore, write the title in the comments below and let us know why you're interested in the hymn.